So before we start, be sure to turn your oven on to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I forget later in the recipe, so I figured I would tell you now. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Bare Necessities. I am Bear, and today we're making lemon blueberry muffins. I discovered this recipe a while back, and I started playing with it and tweaking it and kind of making it my own, and I ended up where I am. I wanted more lemon flavor than what the original called for, and so I have increased the amount of lemon juice, and I've added lemon zest, which the original didn't call for. I really like that it adds more of the lemon flavor without much more tartness, which can also cause them to over-rise and then just kind of go flat. So we needed to pull back the acid while still getting the lemon flavor. And so in this bowl, I have the juice of 2 lemons, and then the zest of 2 lemons. And I've just got them sitting together. I have 2 eggs at room temperature. It just makes them easier to mix in when we start creaming everything together. That's all. They can be cold. Don't worry about that. I have half a cup of milk and half a cup of avocado oil and 1 teaspoon of vanilla in here. I have 2 teaspoons of baking powder and half a teaspoon of salt. I have 1 cup of sugar. This is monk fruit. And then finally, I have 2 cups of flour. You can use just 2 cups of all-purpose, 2 cups of cake flour. I have 1 and 1 in here, so 1 cup of cake flour, 1 cup of all-purpose. And then in the freezer, waiting for their time to get used, I have a cup of frozen blueberries. And we want to keep, I had frozen blueberries already. This is a recipe that uses them, and I want to keep them in there so they don't thaw out too much before we mix them in. Otherwise, they will dye the muffins a kind of pinkish purple, which can be really pretty, but it's not what I want. You'll still get some color streaks in them just from the nature of the blueberries, but they won't just completely dye the dough, batter, both. So let's get started. So to the bowl with the lemon juice and zest, I'm going to go ahead and add my eggs and my sugar, or whatever sweetener you are using that is equivalent to 1 cup. And this recipe makes a half batch. The recipe that I'm giving you is a half batch of the normal recipe that I worked up. Alrighty. Just get the eggs kind of broken apart. And since we're not working with butter, we don't actually have to like cream it all together. We're just making sure it's fairly mixed in. That most of the albumin, which is the egg white, is broken apart. You'll still have little bits of it. That's fine. They will get mixed in. Next, I'm going to add my milk and oil and vanilla. So we have all of our liquid ingredients in there. And remember, sugar is considered a liquid ingredient when baking. All right, and into my flour mix, I'm going to go ahead and put my baking powder and salt. And then I'm just going to give it a quick little stir together. Doesn't have to be perfect. I did end up sifting this flour. I had some clumps. It's been really humid here lately. It's right at the end of November, so it's still warm. And it's been somewhat rainy, but mostly just humid. And my flour is sticking together because of it. Let's just get that in the bowl. And we'll get this just mixed. It doesn't have to be completely. There might still be clumps. That's okay, because we still have a little bit more mixing to do once we add the blueberries. But once they go in, they're only going to get folded in, which is similar to what I'm doing right now, where you start from the outside and bring in. That way it's just a light mixing and you're not breaking them up. You're not getting too much of their juice stirred in, so they're not dyeing the muffin batter. Okay, And we don't want to overmix this. Again, like I said, there might be clumps. That's all right. Clumps are perfectly fine. You'll be able to break them down in just a bit. And I think some of my clumps are actually just the lemon zest clinging together for dear life. All right, we are ready to move on to the next step. So first, I'm going to get my pan ready. All right, so let's take our mini bundt pan. And I just have my avocado oil spray, but you can use whatever spray you like. If you like using spray, or butter and flour is fine. And it doesn't take much. Remember, just a simple, like a quarter second spray is a full serving of the oil. All right, grab my blueberries that are still nice and frosty. And just pour those right in. And like I said, we're just going to fold them in. So I'm going to start from the edge and just bring my spoon under so that we don't overmix and we don't get too much of their juice stirred in, ending up, dyeing our butter, because we do not want that. And we're ready. If you're using a regular cupcake tin, make sure that when you're putting the batter in, that it only goes about 2/3 of the way up. These are going to rise pretty significantly. And so that 2/3 of the way, that'll give you a little bit of a muffin top without it just spreading out and becoming some huge mushroom, basically. All right, so I'm just going to scoop my muffin batter. I'm just going to do 1 scoop in each to start them out even, and then I'll add probably another scoop each. And in the comments, because I would love for you to, interact a little bit, what is your favorite muffin flavor? Because I might just make it. Mine, lemon blueberries up there. I also really, really, really prefer bran muffins. I know it makes me, it shows my age, but I like the texture and the flavor of a good bran muffin with like a little carrot, maybe some raisins or walnuts, but nothing fancy, nothing crazy. They're usually sweetened with molasses and it's just perfect to me. Okay, so we have our little mini bundt scooped. I'm actually going to add just a tiny bit more batter to that one so that they're even. And I'm going to bake these between 14 and 18 minutes. And when they're done, I'll meet you back. And remember, your oven should be at 375 degrees. All right, so the muffins have finished baking. They ended up going for exactly 18 minutes. And I took them out and I put them to just cool for about 5 minutes and then turn them out onto a cooling rack for another 10. So they're still a little warm, but they've had a chance to just dry a little bit on the surface and get a nice. So what you're looking for is kind of a blonde top here, and then your sides will be kind of golden. And whenever they're done, you can either do the toothpick test or a knife, fork, whatever you have, or you can just take your finger and lightly press on it, just press. And if it holds the impression, it's not done, but if it just bounces right back, they're perfectly done. I am so excited for my boys to finally get to eat breakfast this late in the morning. So it's actually just a little early lunch, but oh my gosh. The lemon in that is amazing. And the blueberries are so juicy and they just kind of pop. Not a huge blueberry fan, but this makes them a little bit better for me. I hope you enjoyed making these muffins as much as I have. The lemon, the blueberry, it's so fresh and light, even with kind of a denser cake just because of everything that's in there. They are packed to the brim with blueberry goodness, and the lemon in there is just absolutely crisp and delightful. Let me know what you think. And also, again, I request that you leave your favorite muffins down in the comments, and maybe they'll end up on a future episode. Still haven't decided what these are. Installments, episodes, whatever. We'll see. And until I see you again, bye. I don't do bloopers in these. No, absolutely not. Still waiting for that first sponsorship. Hi everyone, welcome to the Bare Necessities. I'm Ann Reardon. Send that to Ann Reardon so she can be like, fuck off. Spoon. I see you, Magic Spoon cereal. I'm like one of your best customers, so make it happen.